Back at it again, and we have one here, apparently with a leftist confronting Senator Ted Cruz on being civil. Yeah, I'm sure this one has to be very interesting. A leftist talking about being civil? Yeah, we gotta check this one out. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in.
I'd like to ask your advice of how I could encourage my peers to come out and actually see conservatives and hear you guys' voices instead of relying on a stereotype perpetuated by the media to argue against straw men instead.
Okay.
I'm more left-leaning, and I disagree on plenty of your policies, but we also agree on some other things. And I like to come to conservative events like this and hear you guys' voices, but unfortunately there's been a lot of political censorship, a lot of shameful attempts to keep people from speaking, especially at college campuses, coming from my side of the political spectrum. And so I'd like to ask your advice of how I could encourage my peers to come out and actually see conservatives and hear you guys' voices instead of relying on a stereotype perpetuated by the media to argue against straw men instead.
I've got to say, I'm impressed. And I think they all are too, by the looks on their faces. I mean, genuinely, how often do you see something like this? An admitted leftist speaking civilly with, wow, people on the right. This is shocking, absolutely shocking. This is incredible, but this is what it should be in the first place. It's just that we've gone so far in the opposite direction from this that this is shocking. Which is crazy to even say, like, this should be the norm. But, yeah, wow. Kudos to her, man. Kudos. Round of applause, absolutely.
So that is a fabulous question. Let me start by just saying thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of a civil discussion. You're right, that doesn't happen a lot on college campuses, and it needs to happen. And it is important, I think, to listen not just to those you agree with, but to those you disagree with. In many ways, I think you can learn more listening to opposing views rather than people who are just reinforcing what you already think. You know, I'm not sure I know the answer in terms of, if you look at the left, for a long time, the left embraced free speech. You look at the free speech, one of the seminal Supreme Court decisions on free speech involved a anti-war protester who wore a jacket that said F the draft, and it didn't abbreviate F. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, okay, that may be one, you know, that may be one man's obscenity, but the First Amendment protects his right to say that. I think that's exactly right. There used to be lions of the left who embraced free speech. It is becoming more and more rare, and I do think it's important for your voice and for other voices on the political left to say, look, if we, all right, I don't know your economic views, but let's say your economic views are towards bigger government or in the socialist direction. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but hypothetically, let's say you do. If you believe socialism is a good idea, and if you're actually convinced this is a better system that helps people more, then one ought to be willing and eager to have that conversation, not just with people who agree with you, but people who disagree with you, and look to the facts of, okay, what actually lifts people out of poverty? What actually...
He is making an amazing point that I've brought up several times as well, and it's the fact that Democrats never want to debate. And I think it says a lot. The fact that they don't want to debate, in my humble opinion, means that they know that they have nothing to debate with. There's nothing there but opinions. There's no facts. There's no statistics to back most of what they say. or what they try to push. They can't back it. As a matter of fact, a recent conversation I had with someone, just exposing the left and things like that, is I brought up the fact that in the conversations that I've had with leftists, like in person, right? In person, face to face, going back and forth. Hey, the right is right on this, the left is wrong, and they're responding. I'm going back and forth. I mentioned to this person that I haven't lost a debate yet. Not a single one. Now, listen, I'm not the most polished when it comes to debates. I'm still new to this. I'm not true to this, okay? I've only been, involved in politics for just over a year. Just a smidge. So, like, in terms of, like, political, knowledge, like, I'm an infant still. I'm an infant. And if I'm winning debates, I mean, it's not even close. Not even close. They can't refute anything that it is that I am saying. Not a single thing. I haven't lost a single debate. And I mentioned that to this person, and I think it clicked in their mind as well. Like, I genuinely can't say anything against what he's saying. Like, I literally can't refute it. Now, those conversations aren't always going to happen, especially when you're talking to people that you don't know. Fortunately, these conversations have been with people that I do know, so it hasn't devolved into, yelling, screaming, name calling, Now, when you're out in the real world and you're talking to, random folks, I feel like it would devolve into that, and the debate tactic has to be changed. And in my humble opinion, the best debate tactic is just asking them questions. Asking them questions or making statements, but in the form of a question. That's the best way to say it. Making statements, but putting it in the form of a question. That's one of the things that I think we have seen in these videos is the best way to communicate with some of these leftist folks who aren't as civil as this young lady who, I mean, kudos to her, man, because it's a beautiful thing to see that. But let's jump back in.
Helps people achieve prosperity. As a consumer of news, what is hard right now is there's virtually no unbiased news. And we live in such a tribalized world that the left listens to left-wing news, the right listens to right-wing news. We don't have shared facts. We don't have conversations together. And at least the way I try to go through that is I try to, rather than pretend any source is unbiased, I try to listen to and read things that are explicitly on the left and explicitly on the right. And usually the truth is somewhere in the middle. So what I would say is your voice engaged on both sides of the aisle, hopefully that becomes contagious.
I would be curious.
I have to disagree with Ted Cruz on that one. He said it's usually somewhere in the middle. Now, a couple of years ago, I would have agreed with that statement. But at this point in time, with as radical as the left has become, and I know they try to, say that the right has become far right and radicalized or whatever, whatever kind of, labels that they put on the right, it's really the left. And, I've talked about this before, how one thing that I've discovered throughout this journey of finding the truth in all of this is that the left always accuses the right of what the left is actually doing. Think about that. Think about all the times the left has accused the right of doing something, and then when you actually look a little bit closer, you're like, no, actually, you're doing it. It's not them. So when the left says, oh, the right is up, they're all far right extremists, they're really talking about themselves. So when we talk about, having discussions and listening to people on the left and listening to people on the right, and, the truth is somewhere in the middle, not anymore. In my humble opinion, the truth is 95 to 99% of the time on the right side of the political spectrum. And I'll say this, and we'll jump back into the video. I don't know if you guys remember the meme that Elon Musk had posted a while back. This was a while ago, where he had posted, a picture of, kind of like himself, a little stick figure of himself. And obviously there was the right and there was the left. And he was kind of slightly left. Here was the middle. There was the right over here. And then obviously the left. He was slightly left. And then there was another one where he was slightly right. The left had moved farther left. The right hadn't moved. And then there was the next, there was like a third one where the left had moved way, way left. He was like center or, center right. And then, of course, the right, the far right hadn't really moved. And I think that holds true for a lot of people, because I remember a lot of people saying, that's me. That's me. I used to slightly lean left. And now I'm definitely right wing, for sure. It's not even close. But it's not because I changed any of my thoughts or my opinions. It's because they did. And I said this before when people said, I didn't leave the left left me. So I disagree with Ted Cruz when he says, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Not anymore. That used to be the case, but when people were completely honest about things, and not anymore. But what do y'all think?
Curious too, just to hear your thoughts on, because I think your diagnosis is obviously right about the left censoring conservatives. I almost don't hear any calls by conservatives to censor the libs. Probably there just aren't enough of us. So why is it? What makes you different? Why are you here? Why are you interested in, even if you disagree with us, in hearing what we have to say, while so many of your fellow left-wingers are not?
I mean, I would say I'm not really interested in some big tribe of people. I think we're all individuals and we all have our individual policy beliefs on separate issues. I certainly agree with you on gun control. I'm a big gun rights advocate. I believe everybody should be able to own a gun if they want to, because that's your right to protect yourself.
F around to find out.
And I think having those opinions that kind of differ from people who may share my opinion on healthcare, for example, really kind of puts into perspective the way that we are treating, and I say we, but I don't really generally want to associate myself with people who try to censor you guys, but the way that leftists try to treat conservatives and your opinions, having that kind of experience really lends some perspective to why we should give you guys way more respect than we actually do.
Wow. That is honestly and truthfully shocking to hear. Really, really shocking. Someone from the left said the left shouldn't be censoring people on the right. Incredible. I guess I'll say this. First off, kudos to her. She definitely deserves a hand clap, and all of that is well deserved, for sure. Especially in today's society where that is a rarity. That should be the norm, but unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that is rare. So I think it's important that we show appreciation for folks that have that mindset. And the beautiful thing about this is that I feel like that's happening more and more often at this point in time. And I pulled up some videos and, dropped some YouTube shorts. If you guys don't watch my YouTube shorts that I dropped, definitely check those out. I try to drop a few of those on a daily basis, but there's been more and more of those types of situations where, to the point where, it's folks that you would listen to or even look at, and you wouldn't even, this is a terrible way to say it. It's not like your stereotypical right-wing kind of folks, like, that probably sounds terrible because I'm having a hard time articulating fully what I'm really thinking. But for example, you have people in the LGBTQ LGBTQ blah 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 community that are like coming out and like, yes, I am a Republican. I support Republicans, which flies in the face of everything the Democrats have been trying to push. Oh no, Republicans, they're terrible. They wanna make the LGBT blue go extinct. They're gonna we know the fear mongering that the left does. And to hear and see, and I've dropped some shorts on it, people from that community say, no, I'm not listening to the community, the group of individuals that are clearly pandering to me, clearly trying to put me in the forefront, clearly trying to kiss my behind. I am going with these folks over here who just treat everybody the same. I think that says a lot. It's important that, we embrace and acknowledge these individuals, when they make these kinds of statements, like this young lady. Like I said, she deserved every hand clap that was there to be given. It's important that we embrace these folks, because those are the kinds of folks who change an election, the middling folks. Because a lot of folks aren't gonna be swayed. Obviously there's a lot of folks on the left who aren't gonna move, and a lot of us definitely aren't voting for Democrats after what we've been seeing. So it's those middling folks that are gonna make it or break it. So yeah, to see this stuff is it's a beautiful thing. It truly is, and hopefully we'll continue to see more of it. But hey, what do y'all think? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.